I can't even stand candy corn as much as I used to love it.
I don't like that. I don't
I like
no
the little
licorice
pumpkins.
either.
I like the little pumpkins too.
I used to love it. I would eat a whole bag of them things. So,
Did you enjoy your Father's Day gifts?
that was like the funniest thing I ever had in my life. The salt still sitting up there. I ain't gonna use it.
You're not gonna use the salt? Oh
No,
my
my
god.
God, that's funny.
Oh my god.
That was probably the funniest gift I ever got. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really did. I got like, these niggas. Eddie.
How many times did you say it's Father's Day? Don't play with me.
I said,
I bet he gonna wear that thing.
I said, that mess was funny. Oh my God. Petty at his height.
I was listening to Steve Harvey this morning, and somebody had wished him Happy Father's Day. He said, "Don't do that no more." He said, "You go down the card aisle. There's more sympathy cards." Father's Day. He said, "There's more graduation." Oh, and I thought about you this morning. I was laughing so hard. He said, "You got a little section for Father's Day cards and 2 hours for sympathy cards."
Wow.
But he was going in about it. He was like, "Don't wish me Father's Day again."
It is. It's crazy.
That was funny.
And it's the crazy thing is that men is really starting to like pay attention to that mess and notice it now.
It was all over social media this year.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen it like
Yeah.
that. Like, they were really saying how crappy, Father's Day is.
It is. I mean, I don't think, you don't really think about it because I think, and part of that is I think now you are starting to see men be able to express how they feel without feeling without being made feel a certain way about it. And so, I think that's why you're hearing a lot because we never heard anything about Father's Day, and it's never been a great big holiday. It ain't never been nothing that you like really celebrate, but you don't hear it because men just expect it to be whatever.
I guess I really never, because we always did for my mother and father, so I never really paid it attention to just recently.
Your saltiness.
Yeah.
And I really, because,
I do.
I always believe in shining the light. This one was a little bit different. My sister had her go to the emergency room, and then they had a Juneteenth thing, so I felt like we were rushed this time. But I just really started paying attention to it. And I was like, wow, yeah.
Which I don't, honestly, with me, I don't even care like getting anything. I tell my kids, write me something. My baby girl, she makes me a card every year. And I tell my others, I'm fine with a card. Just, something to show me what you think about it. And so I think sometimes even that with me, just, that's all I need. Honestly, that's all I need from anybody, really. I don't really, I'm not a real big gift person, and I don't. And sometimes I had somebody tell me, "Don't miss my blessings."
I did.
When somebody wants to do something for you, let them do it for you, because a lot of times you miss your blessings. So I don't tell people not to give me anything, but I'm more of a. That's why my Father's Day gift was so funny to me, from y'all. So it was like they took the time to be petty enough to do all that, especially the Chick-fil-A call. Oh my God, that was petty. I was like, these niggas is petty. I mean, ninjas.
And it was so funny. I was like, "So run in there, get that card really quickly." I had my little sticky notes, and I had already told Anisha what we were gonna do. I said we gonna do a big for him because he's always salty. I said, but we gotta throw our spin in it.
Yeah, that was funny. Oh my God, the laugh I got out of that, man, especially when I got home and just really sat and thought about it. I said, these ninjas really did that. That was funny. I laughed the whole day. Every time I thought about it, I laughed because it was just, it was very funny.
We love it, sir.
Yeah, we do.
It.
No,
really do.
And I do. It kind of made me upset because a couple people wished me Happy Father's Day, and I've always said that
I'm not a baby mama, honey.
I cannot be a father.
No, that's not my role.
I'm a mother, and I try to be the best that I could be, but I can't stand that, and I've never liked that Happy Father's Day to a woman. I cannot be a man. I can't be the dad. I'm not trying to compensate for what's lacking. I'm just doing the best that I can.
Absolutely.
But I notice that a lot, and I see that a lot, and it's just like,
Well, I think so. I used to would do that. I stopped probably 5 or 6 years ago, and I would just do that because that's what I felt. Because I kind of identified with the struggle of a single mother. But when I started realizing that they're actually their roles, and so when you desire to be something you ain't, you start to go that way. That's why I always tell women to stop saying that you're independent because you're speaking that over your life. So you telling yourself that I don't need. That's what independent means. I don't need. I don't need help. I don't need a man. I don't need this. I'm independent. I'm self-sufficient. And actually, if you think about it in a more deeper thought, that you actually telling God that I'm independent. So what I like to say now, you're being an adult. That's what adults take care of their thing. You may be in a disadvantage because there's somebody that's not in place, but you still are adulting. You taking care of your responsibilities the best way you can. And I don't like speaking independent. I kind of quit saying that. I don't really like to identify women as strong anymore. Resilient is what I try to say.
I appreciate that.
Because I think sometimes you give them stuff that ain't. I mean, they are things ordained by God that women were never intended to carry.
That's right.
They do very good jobs because they are multipliers, so they are able to do a lot of things well, and they can step in to a point. But honestly, the one thing that I found, and this is something that I found that is deep. We probably gonna use some of this, y'all. So just in case y'all didn't know. But one thing that I found that is
we kind of figured out how you did that.
is deep.
I'm over saying
Yeah, I mean, it's no
just
need.
cut.
We don't even
You know, like I'm so over it.
Oh, my mic on. Yeah, so we good. So we
just
good.
over that point. Like, please cut this out.
You might as well because
because
sometimes
you're
I
gonna do what you want to do.
pretty
So
much.
I just
that's what I do.
have come to the fact.
But anyway, let me get back to my point. So I believe that women actually understanding their role and accepting that part, it helps everybody. Because you rarely hear, and I don't know many men, maybe there may be some, so let me just say that. I don't know many men who say, I can do everything a woman can do. You rarely ever see that. You rarely hear that. I know I can't speak.
Yeah.
You never hear, man, I want to do everything a woman can do. I have no desire to do everything a woman do. I don't. So it blows my mind.
To do everything a man does.
But that's what I'm saying. But they are women out here who say,
I'm tired of being a strong black man.
yeah, I mean, because
I'm over that.
And this is what that does. You feel a position that you want God to feel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you the man and you the woman. So I can handle. I got this. I don't need nobody. And so we have to be careful the words we speak of our life. So I don't want to do everything I want to do. The things that she does, I have no desire to do. I have no desire to birth a child. Period. Don't even know what it is.
And I'm a woman.
That shit myself.
Oh Lord.
I have no desire to have the emotions the way women have them. I just don't.
Me either.
Because we were. Oh God.
Oh Jesus.
Talk about inner feelings the other day.
We've been in our feelings, honey.
And it's strange. But y'all have some amazing strengths. Like y'all have the ability to do a lot of things well. All men can't do that. A lot of men can't do that, to be honest.
I think we multitask better.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
Because I think the way you operate, you know what I'm saying? I just think men, I can do multiple things, but I'm much better when I'm focused. And when I'm in my focus, don't bother me because I'm focused. You know what I mean? So I just think there's some advantages, and I think that's the advantages are set by God.
That's right.
And we just have to find them. I think even in relationships with us, I was looking up some terms, and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to use, and one of them was mismatched and mix match. So anyway, that's what's up, world.
Yes.
It's your boy
It's
Tyrone Morgan, and I'm here
He's
today
here.
with another episode of the Soul
Rehab
Rehab Podcast. Let's go! Woo!
We're back.
We are in the building live, and I'm
Yes.
full of color.
Oh God.
I guess he's gonna say we colors. You like to say we colors.
Woo!
Yeah.
We're colors.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's trying
y'all
to be
bright.
pretty.
Y'all bright.
Mhm.
Bright lights.
Yes.
Bright lights. And I am absorbing the light. You know that's what black do, absorb light.
Oh,
Here we go.
But anyway, I'd like to introduce my team. I'm gonna introduce y'all today. Ain't that what y'all
All
feel?
right. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. We have no other than the fervent servant, Miss Anisha Dawson.
Hey y'all. Hope y'all are all well.
With the birthday coming up.
We're gonna
Yay.
be 29.
Now, I'll admit I'll be 44 on
Woo!
Thursday. I'm
Okay.
excited.
When I get
Yeah.
44, I hope I look as good as you do.
Oh my
Woo! You can't go backwards.
And we have
You could go backwards.
that was right on time.
and we have the voice of reason, which should have been behind the scenes at that time. Miss Francis Sutton.
Hey.
Oh gosh.
We gotta come up with a name for Boz and Perry.
Yes.
We got to.
Boz said he was excited about coming
We
back.
are-
He
Yes.
had his daughter had a game today.
Welcome.
So we'll do another pod with him.
Yeah. Exciting.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm excited
absolutely.
about it.
Yes.
But where I was at was I had looked up some terms and I was just trying to figure out like a name or what we should be kind of like talking about. And I looked up the term mismatch, and that term was unsuitably matched or incompatible. That's what M-I-S match. And then I looked at the term mixed match, which is a phrase, and it is to put different things together in different ways. And this guy, I don't know what paper he wrote for, but his name was Michael Kwan. He said mixed match refers to the action of choosing and combining items together that complement one another in some way. It is the way we pick the individual pieces to complement so we work together. And I'm gonna use that mixed match somewhere because I think what mixed match is just saying what I kind of echo a lot of time. You find your strengths, you know your weaknesses, and your partner cover. I think we are more of a complementary piece for each other instead of trying to find somebody who does everything that you do. Because in relationship, it's all about growth. And so if you're not going to be able to grow in it, because, and I struggle with this, and I still struggle with it, but I don't think you get away from being with potential. I think there's always a potential. There's a potential to regress, and there's a potential to progress. But you have to be satisfied with what you have at the moment. You know what I mean? And so in growth, sometimes people don't like to grow. Sometimes people don't think they need to grow. And then the people you need to stay away from because we all have room to grow. And so I think that that mixed match is a very good term for somebody in a relationship. But I want to kind of, I think mismatch, unsuitably matched or incompatible, I think is something that I want to discuss. Because I feel like a lot of times that, you know, in our last pod, we was talking about, what was it, the faith of moving on or having faith, something about moving on. I can't even remember. But we were talking about moving on, and we got to a part in the podcast that, you know, we just were kind of talking about being unequally yoked, you know, why in the world that we in, especially trying to, you know, live a saved life, why is that an option for us? And so there's a couple things that I just kind of thought about, and I kind of wrote down just to have a line of thought. And one of the things is I feel like we do that sometimes because loneliness. I think I'm gonna give y'all a chance to respond to this, but I think sometimes that we often go, that I always seem that there's a lack of, especially, and I can't speak to this part, but for women who want to find God-fearing men, you always hear there's a lack of that. And so, with that train of thought, and see, this is the reason why I want to do this podcast, because there's a lot of people out here struggling with that same thing, and we need to be able to transparently speak about those things, because we tend to, as Christians, to whitewash everything without considering the human side of the person. And so if you don't never address the human side, then we won't never get to a way to move forward. And so I want to address the human side of this, because, you know, even as a man, you know, there's things that I experience too, but I think the load of this really is more towards the women, because you hear it all the time. When you go to church, it's probably, especially in black church, it is probably 75 to 25%
women, female,
and then it's probably 90 to 10% versus single versus marriage, you know. And so, in y'all own words, what do y'all think about that?
Couldn't we go back for a minute?
We can.
Because something you said that really stuck out to me. God-fearing men. I don't know what your definition of that is, because you have a lot of men that believe in God, but they are not saved. So I think we need to, can we address that for a minute?
Okay.
Because, especially if we're talking about relationships and being unequally yoked, a lot of people just from, especially in the black population, they were brought to believe in God.
Right.
So they believe in that higher power or God, but they might not have a relationship with God. They might not be saved. So I wanted to stop there for a second.
If I had to come up off the cuff by God-fearing man, I think there's a reverence for God, and there's a fear of God. And I probably should, I think what you talking about is they have a reverence for God, so they know who He is, and they believe He's real, but they don't fear. And fear can mean reverence, but fear also means that you understand that you need to follow His ways, and you need to have a relationship with too. Because I think if we lack, I had a relationship with church the first time I got saved.
Right.
Now I have a relationship with God.
Right.
And it's different.
Right.
So I think the knowledge of God, and you respect the fact that there is God, but I think fear includes more than just reverence. It includes a relationship. Maybe it's reverence and relationship. To me, is what fear is. And I think, let me say, I think that it's an important to know, to have knowledge of God, but it is way more important to have a relationship.
Yes.
Because so you kind of can get out of order. I don't, and I think, and let me say this, I think they are good men that are not saved.
Absolutely.
But I think there also is a different level of a man that is saved.
Absolutely.
Because that's the order of God.
Right.
The head of man is God. And so when you have that head as God, you can start trying to trust. And it don't mean you won't challenge some decisions or you won't have some differences, but God, if you are a God-fearing woman, God will also speak to you. When I remember reverence and relationship, when I say fear, God will speak to you. So there'll be some stuff that God may have told you first, and you just wait for Him to come because He tell you not to say anything. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's how we balance each other out. And you don't, and that means you don't get to the point that I think you're supposed to lead with, not lord over. I think that's a different perspective. When you look at it, is when God sent Jesus to die on the cross. When He came, He was Lord with us, not Lord over us. And so when you walk with people, it's different. And so I think we need to see leadership as a man as walking with and not lording over. Which is just you. Most of us think lording over somebody, just telling somebody what do. You do what I say.
That's true.
But I have to have a vision, and we have to remember that what the vision is, the God-given vision for our family and our relationship, it comes first. So any decision we make, we have clear steps because it has to line up with the vision that God gave us. So, and I know I went way left and gave you way
No,
more.
I thought it was good
That's
because yeah. Okay, so now what was your question? Because I got stuck on that one.
Oh, how do single women that's saved and working on their relationship with God, how do they respond to the visual? Because that's what a lot of it is, the visual of not having men in church. And I think I said the lack of God-fearing men in church.
I mean, that's just that period of, I mean, it is rare. Like we said last time in the last podcast, you know, you're in balls of rarities.
Yeah.
There are not a lot of options, and it's just a matter of a lot of times of just waiting, or like we said last time, like you're taking a chance of that unequally yoked. And boss has said something about, you know, potential. You know, well, everybody has potential.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? You have the potential, like you said, to either go this way or that way. So for me, Perry said something about saving them. No, I can't save nobody.
We can't do that.
I can't save you. But I believe as Christians at the same time, we are rescued to rescue others.
Right. That's it. I believe that.
So we can give men tools to help them. We can help them link with godly people.
Yeah.
That's just the way that, you know, that's from my perspective.
And what you saying that made me think is like, I think when I'm not an advocate for unequally yoked. I'm just speaking from the human side of it that I know women deal with, but you can't go in that with the idea that man is going to change.
Absolutely not.
You can't.
No.
You can't. If you got that expectation, then you're gonna lead yourself down the wrong path.
Right.
Right.
You have to realize what you have. You know, if that's a path you choose. And I'm not advocating it. I'm just speaking from the human side of this thing today. That's what I want to get out, the human side of it. But you know, you can't. If you go in there with that expectation, you're gonna fall because what you're telling God is, I got this. I know how to get him saved. And all of us have been called by the Father to come back home. And he does it in his own time.
Absolutely.
And they have to receive that. I mean, it's just like Jesus, he didn't make the disciples follow him. He asked them questions and they chose to follow him.
Right.
And so that's with everybody. That's with, even with us. Like I said, I had a relationship with church, not with Jesus. And when I got my relationship with Jesus, everything in my life changed. So there's a difference. So I think as long as they're aware of that, again, I want to make sure I'm clear. I'm not an advocate for that, but you need to be aware of what you're signing up for.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Shoot.
Alrighty. Where shall we begin? All right, so I think the question was, how do single women respond to the lack of God-fearing men? All right, I'm just going to say what I've observed over my lifetime. All right, in the church. I've been in a lot of churches. So, usually, like Anisha said, there aren't that many men. And most of the time, if they are men, they're married. Now, this is so not of God. I've seen single women go after married men in the church.
Yep.
And it causes a whole ruckus because they see, and you know, a lot of times we look at people and we think they have this glamorous life or their life is all put together. And there's a song, nobody knows what goes on behind closed doors.
Right.
You don't know what's going on behind, just because they appear like they have it all together. And let me say, even the ones that are doing good in relationships, they have disagreements. They have, you know, nothing is going to be perfect.
Right.
And if it is, it's scary.
Yep.
Because
If it
it's
is,
just
fake.
Yeah. That's the better. That's the better word.
Yeah,
you know, that would probably be. But I've seen so many single women going after married men in the church, and it just caused so much confusion and different things. And for me now, I'm protective over my family. You know, I feel like men shouldn't just counsel women by themselves. If they're married, they need to have their wives there. It's something in the scripture about, you know, don't let your good be spoken evil of. You know, I don't think,
girl.
I don't think, you know, like pastors, even if pastors should counsel women by themselves, or that women should go to their houses, or, you know, different things after a certain time, or, you know, I'm gonna be that wife. I don't even like the term first lady, but I'm going to be that wife. Like, okay, you're gonna have to call my husband. Or we're gonna go together. You know, you got to be careful. But I've seen women go to church purposely lusting.
Yeah, no doubt.
Absolutely.
Lusting. They mind ain't nowhere on Jesus. They going lusting, looking for a man, eyeing out who, if there's two single men, they fighting over who gonna get that man. So this is what I've seen. This is just how to sing. And I
have experienced that. So we've had visitors at our church, and I knew why they were there.
You know, they mind ain't nothing on Jesus. They don't care about the word.
Chocolate covered sherm.
They like all that chocolateness. They like the butterscotch. They like the caramel.
They do.
They ain't thinking about being saved or delivered or getting any type of healing.
Absolutely.
But definitely seen women go to church looking for that. I also seen women get disappointed, you know, because they are going to church and they are serving God. And there's a lot of ministries and that don't have anything for single women. They have things for married people, they have things for children, but they forget about the single women or the single group, not just the women. And God is so concerned about everybody.
Absolutely.
And there's ministry for everybody. How do single women respond to the lack of God-fearing
Before
men?
you get in that, can I say one thing about single? And quit making everybody for single have a church program.
Right.
We ain't got to go. We don't. Everything we do we don't want to be church program. You know what I mean? It's you're not really building relationships with people if we do everything according to church.
Right.
You know what I mean? I love church. I go
too.
every Sunday and go often as I can. I love it. But when we're single, you don't want that's why I think that's why singles don't do stuff with other church people, because they feel like we can't do nothing because why can't we go to a movie? Why can't we go out to eat?
Not only that, the singles ministries always turn into couples ministries.
Yeah.
And no, let's just be the singles.
Be singles.
You start seeing the married people. That's not they.
Yeah, let us have our
At
space.
this moment,
Yeah.
we don't want you guys present.
Right.
We need y'all later on for counseling.
Yeah.
But right now, we need singles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just so you can congregate and
Yeah.
just get to know each other.
Absolutely.
I think.
And to vent and
Yeah.
to be open, you know, to say stuff. And, you know, what is it? Like sometimes, you know, if you got a friend, say if you're single and your friend is with a couple, and they may invite you, but often you don't want to be the third wheel or all the time.
Yeah,
not
always
saying
be me, Lord.
Not saying you're not happy for them,
Right.
but
Right.
that's kind of like that. You know, you're not as open to discuss, or
Right.
you don't feel free to share. Like, and sometimes it's just depressing.
It is.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
it's like boom, it's in your face
It's
again.
gonna slap in the
Boom,
face.
it's in
Yeah.
your face again. Here we are at it. But I'm single. You know.
Right.
And again, I celebrate everything. I'm happy for the people
Right.
that are married, and you know, I know my time is going to come.
We
All
got
of our
feelings.
time, yeah,
We got to deal with
Yeah.
our feelings, and like the
Yes.
single. When we have our single talk, we might go through a little period of teaching, but we're gonna have open conversations
Yes.
because we want to get everybody. We want to know how you feel and where you at. I mean, we all know scripture. We all know how we're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
But that don't mean that's where my soul is at.
That's right. Or your flesh.
Right.
Let's talk about that.
We have them conversations.
Right.
We talk about how we handle sex and how we deal with our urges, and when we get the feelings of love, because you have to get that out. And somebody that, I ain't gonna say they can't speak to it from a marriage, but it's always a different perspective for us.
Oh, let me say this. I used to hate when people be like, God is a keeper, and you going home to your husband. Exactly. When I was young. Don't tell God is a keeper.
Because as soon as you get through the door, you'll be hunting your husband. And I got to go home and be kept.
He'll keep you.
God keeping me.
I used to hate that. People used to say that all the time. He is a keeper. Don't get me wrong. I didn't want to hear that. You wrapped around somebody, or you going home, you lovey-dovey, and I'm lonely. You talking about the human side? Well, that used to anger me.
The women tell you this. I'm telling you, I promise you, it's worth the wait. Y'all didn't wait. Y'all lying.
That part too.
Yeah,
that part.
Yeah. Don't be lying.
Don't lie. That's when you when you know some.
Yeah.
You know. Girl, you ain't wait.
No.
Right. That part too.
Wait.
Yeah.
You ain't wait. Don't play.
Don't play. Don't lie.
That part. But again, how the single woman respond to the lack of God-fearing men? Because there's a lack. We go into desperation. Mm-hmm. So we seek after, and we go find.
What's up, world? It's your boy Tyrone Morgan. You have reached the end of another great podcast. Matter of fact, the first part of this 3-part podcast. Again, I like to give bite-sized samples of our podcast, and to be mindful of the time that you spend to watch it. So listen, we thank you for joining us for this first part of Mismatched, which is unequally yoked, not just spiritually, but it can be many other things. And so we hope that we said something that registered with you today, and we pray that you return for part 2 of this podcast next Tuesday at 7. Peace out.